Hi, my name is Usman. I'm a photographer at Sonder Creative and senior writer at fstoppers.com, and today I'm going to be talking about laptops. Now, as a photographer, as someone who produces video content, I've been using MacBook Pros for most of my career because when it comes to like the creative industry, the go-to laptop for many of us has been an Apple Macbook. It's, something from a historical perspective, most creatives have been using MacBooks for a long time. However, in the last few years, Apple's been really annoying me and many of the creative industry, or many in the creative industry, I should say, with just producing absolute crap when it comes to their laptops. Their laptops absolutely suck. They're just junk. If you're a creative person who does anything meaningful, Apple Macbooks are just not the ones that I would recommend. And I've been looking for a good alternative for a while now, and I think I found one. In fact, I haven't just found an alternative, I found something that's significantly better, and that is the Asus Zenbook Pro UX580. Now, aside from the long-winded choice of name, I have to say, I'm pretty blown away by this laptop. In fact, I hate to say this word because I use this word so much, but this laptop is incredible. I was not expecting this laptop to be that good because prior to me getting this laptop from Asus, I didn't actually know much about the company. I did a little bit of research and I was like, oh, okay, Asus, they're actually pretty big. And I got this laptop, I've been using it for a few weeks, I've been using it for video editing, I've been using it for photography as well, and the performance is just way up there. I mean, it's beating my main desktop, and on my desktop I've got an i7, 32 gigs of RAM and a GTX 1080. The Zenbook only has 16 gigs of RAM, an i7 and a GTX 1050, and it's just tearing through 4K footage. It's just eating up any of the files that I'm giving it, and it's just doing such a good job. The fan does tend to get a little bit loud on occasions, but I'm not really that fussed about it. It's the performance which is just absolute killer. The specs on this are absolutely insane. It's got a 4K screen, which is pretty rare when it comes to most laptops. In fact, I don't think any MacBook has a 4K screen just yet. And not just that, the screen on this has 100% Adobe RGB coverage. Now, I'm going to stress that this is one of the most compelling features in this laptop, especially if you're a photographer, because if you know anything about colors, and if you know anything about editing, you'll know that a wider gamut is extremely important. And I'm a big fan of good, really high quality colors. If you watch some of my other videos, you'll know that I keep talking about how important colors are, and colors should be important to you as well. But let's put that into comparison, or put that into context. My monitor over here is the BenQ SW320. Now, this is a 32-inch monitor which has been designed specifically for photographers and designed and calibrated for the absolute best when it comes to editing images. And even this monitor doesn't have 100% Adobe RGB coverage. So the fact that the Zenbook does is just insane. So I'm a huge fan of that. I absolutely love that about this monitor. Now, there is a problem with this monitor, which is that when you first get it, calibration is going to be pretty bad, because I think they're leaning their screen more towards the consumer end as opposed to the high-end, video editing and image editing, because it's very contrasty. In fact, it's way too contrasty, so I highly recommend you calibrate it. But once you've calibrated it, and once you've done all of the things that you need to set it up, it's got some of the best colors you've ever seen, and it just looks incredible. You will need to calibrate it, but once you've calibrated it, you're fine. In terms of ports and connectivity, this laptop has a good number available. It's got two USB 3.1s, two Thunderbolts, a full HDMI, a headphone jack, obviously the power cable port, and a micro SD card slot. Now, I would have preferred if you had a full SD card slot, because I think that would have been way more useful for a lot of creatives, including me, but I'm not going to complain too much. I don't use the micro SD card slot very much unless I'm filming on a GoPro, which is very rare. But other than that, I just tend to use a USB card reader, and I just connect that in, and it's perfectly fine. So the standout feature of this laptop is the touchpad. The touchpad is actually another screen, and you can use it like a normal touchpad if you want. You can disable all the extra features or whatever and just have it like a normal touchpad if you want, Or you can have it like a bit of a hybrid where you've got it like a touchpad, but you've also got apps built into it like a calendar or a calculator or a music player. Or the final option you have is you can have it as an actual full-on extended screen with a 1080p resolution. And that's what I've been using when I'm doing my editing. When I'm out and about and just doing, like if I'm writing an article or something, then no, I have it as just a normal touchpad because I don't need to be faffing around. However, it's extremely useful as a second display when I'm editing video, because what I tend to do is I have my laptop connected via HDMI to that monitor there, and that works as my reference monitor. I've got all my controls and everything and my dials and whatever on the main screen on the laptop, but then the touchpad screen, I use that for all of my clips, all of my LUTs, and any tools or materials that I'm going to be using on the timeline. And the reason why I have it there is because if I need to put something into the timeline or audition something, I can either just drag and drop it straight onto the timeline or just double tap it to quickly audition it. And that is extremely useful for my workflow, and I think it's going to be extremely useful for a lot of people's workflows. Having that little extra real estate just makes things so much easier. This is one of the most useful features that any laptop has ever had, ever. And if Asus asks for this laptop back, I'm gonna cry. It's just so good. Now, earlier on in this video, I talked about the performance and I mentioned how the Zenbook was better than my desktop in several areas, and that is true. If I'm editing 4K footage, which is only 30p in most cases, if I'm editing 4K footage on my desktop really stutters when I'm trying to preview it in full resolution, and there's lots of drop frame rates, it freezes a lot, and I have to drop it down to like a quarter of the resolution just for it to play back smoothly, and I hate that. It really takes me out of the zone. The Zenbook, however, the same project at full resolution, perfectly fine. It just tears through it, and I absolutely love that. Now, of course, if I'm rendering footage, then my desktop does do a much better job, and you can do it in about half the time compared to the Zenbook, and that's where the bigger, more capable graphics card comes in. I've got a GTX 1080 in there, so the 1050 in the laptop is just not going to compare to that 1080 in the desktop. Even still, the performance on this laptop is very impressive, and it just makes me want to use it a lot more, especially if I'm editing images or editing videos. Finally, I want to talk about some of the things that I don't like about this laptop, and the first thing is battery life. Battery life on this laptop is decent. It's definitely not the 9.5 hours rated on the website, so I'd take that with a massive pinch of salt. I'm getting somewhere around 5 hours max, and I know why. It's because I'm pushing the laptop more towards performance as opposed to efficiency, but if I have to sacrifice performance in favor of battery life, then what's the point having those specs? What is the point having that battery life? There's no point. I mean, people aren't buying this laptop so that they can have the 1050, the i7 and the RAM and whatever, only to have it sacrificed or only to have it, pushed down just so that they can have the rated battery life. So it just annoys me when manufacturers put these meaningless ratings in that only work in like a particular exact specific environment. Just that little annoying thing. But battery life is decent. It's not the best. It's definitely not the one. It's definitely not the number that's rated on the website. Second thing is build quality. Now, build quality is actually very, very good, and this is a minor nitpick, but what I'm finding is that when I'm using the keyboard on the laptop, the keyboard does have a little bit of flex to it, and also on the back of the laptop where the logo is, that section does also have a little bit of flex to it. So construction wise, it's not the best laptop I've ever used. However, build quality is really good, and in the hand it does feel really nice. It's a really nice metal design, but it's just some of those construction issues. And finally, this kind of annoys me a little bit as well, and that's the screen. Now, I love the screen because of the wide color gamut, and I've been going on about how good it is in this video, but the thing that really brings it down is the fact that Asus decided on a glossy screen, and I just don't know why anyone would want to use a glossy screen, because they suck. Fine, it looks nice, but if you've got 100% Adobe RGB and you've got a glossy screen, what's the point? It just completely ruins the whole vibe of it. A glossy screen picks up so many reflections that it just makes things difficult to use. It's impractical. And like I said, it looks nice, but it's completely impractical, and glossy screens just make things difficult. So even when I'm outside and I'm using the laptop, and even at full brightness, it just picks up a lot of reflections and it just makes it more difficult to see. So I think that this laptop would have been absolutely perfect if it had a matte finish screen, but that glossy screen just brings it down. And it's not just Asus. I'm not blaming Asus as an individual thing. You know, it's everyone. All the manufacturers are doing this, and if you want like a matte screen, you have to buy specialized monitors just to get that. Ultimately, even with all the negative things that I've just mentioned, this laptop is still the best laptop I've ever used. It's incredible. I mean, the design, the specs, the price. I mean, the price, this laptop's a bargain. It's £800 cheaper than the equivalent MacBook. That's amazing. I mean, it really is. This laptop is, yeah, it's just awesome. It's got a few minor issues, but I think those are really minor issues, especially when you consider this laptop from an overall perspective. And based on that, the performance of it, the design, the handling, that touchpad that you've got, the wide color gamut, it's just an incredible laptop. So if you're a creative and you want something that's going to be a fantastic alternative to a MacBook, because you want to step away from them, same as I do and same as many other creatives, I would highly recommend the Zenbook Pro UX580. Anyway, just want to say thank you so much for watching my video. If you liked this video, please hit the like button, please subscribe, leave a comment or suggestion below, and I hope to see you guys in the next one. Thank you.